March 13th, 2025. I slept well and long. 8 hours, 20 some odd minutes. Awesome. I needed it. The long day yesterday, I guess, even though I kind of napped in the car while we were driving yesterday, my body was like, yeah, you still need a lot of sleep. So I got it. That was good. I felt pretty good this morning. Kind of got going. A lot of communications and prep and kind of busy work, just kind of organizing and whatnot around the house here. That basically consumed my morning and afternoon. In the evening, I headed over to the Production Peeps industry mixer at the Georgetown Stables. There was a ton of people. They said there were 200 name tag things, and those all ran out. I don't know how many people came beyond that. Maybe another 50, maybe another 100, I don't know. But probably, maybe even more. I'm not sure. It was pretty packed. It was cool to meet a lot of people, and especially interesting to meet a lot of people that I have only seen on the Facebook group. So were simply names to me. Putting names to actual human physical faces. That's pretty cool. Everybody had a good vibe, and yeah, it was just fun to kind of learn a few new stories, meet people cold that I'd never even heard of before, and just make some connections. Even though I have kind of the sense that I might not be living here soon, maybe, possibly, if I move to Utah or if I move to Texas, I still, I think it's important to kind of make these connections. And it seems, yeah, I think even if I move to Utah, I'll probably continue doing a lot of work in this area because the travel is pretty easy. And yeah, it just doesn't make sense to lose this source of income, even at the cost of the travel and time that it might accrue or incur. Yeah, other than that, after work, kind of made my way home and did my thing. A little more organizing, a little more prepping. My voice sounds a little raspier. It was really loud at the mixer, so I was talking extremely loudly, very frequently, and yeah, I think I kind of lost my voice a little, which was cool. I haven't done that in a while. I guess it kind of gives me this a little bit of a morning bass sound. So yeah, that's fun. Deep thought for the day. Oh, I wrote something down. What did I write down? Well, I guess I wrote down, it was when I was driving home. I guess when I think about the, maybe the creative energy that might be required to make something unique or interesting on a daily basis. And I guess that's kind of the standard I'm holding myself to. That is challenging. I think certainly most YouTuber type people or most bloggers or journal keeping or any creative endeavors, if you're doing something daily, you do get the benefit of flexing that muscle daily, and certainly that helps. I think establishing any kind of habit, a daily habit, will make you better at doing said thing in whatever realm that is. But it definitely, I mean, I don't know. I guess I think about trying to be creative in a unique way on a daily basis it's just challenging. So I guess what does that do for me? That makes me, in one way, I kind of, maybe that sounds like an excuse for when I don't come up with something cool or interesting or a little more creatively unique. But at the same time, because that excuse exists, maybe even if it's in a little bit the back of my mind, it sort of is a little bit of a pressure release valve on the standard that I might hold myself to otherwise, in sort of a perfectionistic way. You don't have to do everything perfectly good, perfectly creative, perfectly unique 100% of the time. Part of life is learning that there is a middle ground in many ways to anything in particular. And also that even if you can't do the best thing that exists, it's still worth doing. It's still worth it to do something even without doing the best thing. I think about, I guess when I tie that concept to this, that kind of is maybe a little obvious, but it also holds true, I guess, when people consider doing anything at all. There's often this kind of self-criticism or just criticism of things that aren't done the best. And that's such a silly, even counterproductive way of thinking. Let me give an example. Like, for instance, when a person doesn't do here's a simple example. Sometimes people question when a person gets into a hobby, a sport, or something where they don't excuse me, where they may not ever become the best at that thing. I, for example, got into table tennis when I was in my 20s. I think early on I had the idea that I could potentially become one of the best ever. Maybe not ever, but just one of the best in the world. I rapidly, my skill increased really fast early on in the sport, and I think this is pretty typical for people. I mean, I didn't know this at the time, but it's pretty typical for people when they get into an endeavor that the progression arc is really steep. You go up really fast, and you can really feel and experience the feeling of improvement at a thing. You climb really fast. You just go up and up, and you're not sure where that tapers off. You don't know what your level will taper off at, and you just you shoot at the moon. You go, man, I'm gonna be playing with these top players in no time. That's what I had that's the thought I had. And eventually you taper off, and you go, oh, is this where I'm at? Is this where I'm landing? And in my case, it wasn't anywhere near as good as I thought I would get. And I do remember kind of puzzling about the idea of not getting to the top, not becoming the very best, like as if it was not worth it to do that in a way. But I never really questioned it because I just love the sport so much. And I guess maybe a thought I had back at that time when I would see older people, like in their senior citizen kind of age, just playing and seemingly extremely determined to get better and better and better. And in my mind, I was like, man, you can't continue to get better at that old age. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know that I question why somebody would do it, but I I guess I had sort of a negative feeling about it. And I don't know, I can't think of an example where I thought of somebody trying to, questioning that specifically. Why do a thing if you can't become the best? But I do remember feeling or hearing that sentiment. And ultimately, this is a long, roundabout way of explaining. It's just good to do a thing. Do the thing, maybe because you enjoy it, maybe because even if you don't improve, or if you improve in such a negligible way, it's still good to do. You don't have to be the best at everything. The best option doesn't have to be done in order for it to be still worth a thing that is done. You don't have to have a team full of the best at every element that you want that team for. You can have a pitcher on your team and still enjoy playing with them even if they're not the best pitcher. It's because you still get to play the game. They still get to grow and improve. You still get to improve maybe more because you lean less on what they do because they're not doing it the best. I don't know. There's a lot of depth to this concept, a lot of breadth to it. And I just felt like kind of tackling it a little bit. And yeah, here we are. Anyway, doing is better than having to do the very best. And I'm sticking to it. Hopefully, y'all have a good one. Until next time, take it easy.